be demonstrating how to cast on 2 cuff down socks at one time using the magic loop method. You need 2 separate skeins of yarn, and if your yarn comes in 2 smaller skeins, you're good to go. If it comes in 1 larger skein, I recommend splitting it into 2 separate balls. So to begin with, we will make a slip knot with the yarn for sock number 1, and I'm using 2 different colors just to help you see the difference here. And for demonstration purposes, I'm going to pretend I'm making a 10-stitch sock. So we begin with the green sock, or sock number 1, by casting on half the required number of stitches, which in this instance would be 5. So when I get my 5 stitches on, I just slide those away from the edge, and I'm going to pick up the second ball of yarn, or for sock 2, and in this instance my pink yarn, and I'm going to go ahead and cast on all of the stitches required for the second sock. So for me that would be 10 stitches. If you're knitting a full-size sock, it might be 64, whatever that would be. Now I have all of the stitches needed for sock number 2. Then I'm going to take these stitches and slide them onto the cable portion of the needle, and I'm going to divide the stitches at the halfway point on sock number 2, which is the sock that we cast on all of the stitches for. I'll pull my cable needle through. So I have 1 needle that has stitches for 2 socks and 1 needle that has just stitches for 1. So I am going to take this needle that needs the stitches for the green sock, and I'm going to continue casting on with that. So using the tail that is attached to the half on the other needle, I'm going to go ahead and, using the long tail method, cast on the remaining number of stitches for sock number 1, or the green sock. So there's the remaining 5 for this sock. So now I have all of the stitches for both socks on 2 different needles. And turn it to the right. Now it's time to begin knitting with the magic loop. Now, as I was turning around, maybe I need to rearrange my yarn a little bit, because if you remember, when we start with the magic loop, you have your working yarn on the back needle. So I'm going to slide that out and go ahead and just start knitting with my green yarn. And I'm going to knit half of the stitches for that sock with its green yarn. When I am finished with that, drop that yarn, and then I need to pick up the yarn from the second sock, or the other ball of yarn, and go ahead and knit the first half of the stitches for the pink sock. So as you can see, the knitting is exactly the same, we just have 2 separate skeins of yarn. Go ahead and turn your work. Now you can see when I get ready to knit with the magic loop again and knit on this needle, I now am still working with the pink yarn. So go ahead and knit the second half of the pink sock, obviously with the pink yarn. Drop your pink yarn, and now find my green yarn, and I'm ready to knit the second half of the green sock. So now I am have finished one complete round of both the pink sock and the green sock. And you will continue using the magic loop and knitting with one color for one needle, or one ball of yarn, but you have two separate socks going at the same time. The biggest challenge is keeping your yarn separate, because we certainly don't want to knit the green on the pink yarn and vice versa. But other than that, the knitting is the same. And if you want to review either the long tail cast on or the magic loop, just check out my videos on those topics. Happy knitting!